is the murder of Rasheem Carter. On a Saturday in early October, Rasheem Carter, a 25-year-old black man visiting rural Taylorville, Mississippi for work, called his mother in a panic. Some white guys were following him in 3 trucks, he said, yelling racial slur. He feared they would hurt him. His mother, Tiffany Carter, who lived 2 hours away in the town of Fayette, stayed on the phone with her son as he went to the Taylorsville police station for help. She heard him tell the officers that he was being followed and asked them for a ride back to his hotel in Laurel, about 20 miles away. She heard an officer tell him no because Laurel was out of their jurisdiction. She heard someone say he couldn't stay at the station, that he had to leave. The next morning, Carter, still fighting, returned to the police. Again, he felt as if the officer had brushed him off. His mother sent a friend to pick him up, telling him to wait for the ride, but when the friend arrived, Carter had disappeared. 1 month later, law enforcement discovered Carter dead in a wooded area near Taylorville on someone's private property. There were very few remains, only his skull and a small number of his bones, along with his driver's license and personal belongings like some clothes, a hotel room card, and an iPhone battery. The Smith County Sheriff Department announced the next day that it had saw no signs of foul play. The sheriff tried to convince me that my son went back there, Tiffany Carter recalled, maybe hallucinating or high and dehydrated and died. She didn't buy it. Carter was too smart to go wandering on to some white man's land, she said, and he was trying to get out of Taylorville, not hang around there. Plus, medical professionals told her it would typically take longer than 30 days for a body to decompose to bone. The sheriff suggests that Bazaar and other wild animals ate her son's flesh. What really had me baffled is how can you clearly convey there is no foul play, say Kendrick McDonald's, a coroner in Fayette, who also leads the local NAACP. You cannot determine the cause or manner of any death without any thorough investigation. Skeptical, Carter family began working with a private investigator who made several disturbing allegations, including that Carter bones were broken in smooth cuts, possibly inconsistent with an animal attack, and that his severe penis was found decomposed in his mouth. The autopsy report referred to fracture but does not detail how clean the breaks were. It neither proved nor disproved the claim of genital mutation since the medical examiner received only bones. But Crump, an attorney for the family, who nationally renowned for his work on police misconduct cases, say the skull contained no teeth. On top of everything else, the private investigator, whom the family declined to identify, claimed that law enforcement mishandled the investigation and chose not to take the Carters' disappearance seriously, despite its earlier request for help. Allegations Smith County Sheriff Joel Houston denies. We are addressing the case from every angle to get as many answers as we can for the family, he told me. If we find someone who has anything to do with this, they'll spend their days in court. For the most part, however, the cop has remained tight-lipped. The sheriff stopped returning my calls after an initial 15 minutes interview in February, and other law enforcement agency has ignored or denied any request for comments. Even as the Carter family complained about a lack of transparency in the case, that silence has encouraged rumors. Kids in Taylorville joke that a local resident fed Carter to his hogs, and some residents believe Police Chief Gabe Orn is related to the man who owns the property where Carter bones turned up, something Horn would not confirm or deny since he wouldn't speak with me. I was unable to reach the property owner, but a Taylorville resident who shared the owner's last name told me that the family is related to the police chief and that she suspects her family is also distantly related to the owner. But it's not just a question of family. Some of Horn's other connection in the small town has also drawn attention. According to a source familiar with Taylorville and its resident who requested anonymity for safety reasons, the chief recently started grabbing coffee most morning at a local restaurant with a group of white men he's friendly with, at least one of whom he's publicly made violent racist comment about Carter and black protesters in town. The group started meeting after Carter death and bills itself as a sort of literature club. According to the source, a restaurant employee who could not recall whether Horn was a member of the group told me she wasn't sure what the club actually discussed, maybe because it wasn't easy to hear them when they talk, said the anonymous source. Local notice the men are not talking out loud. They're bent over the table whispering. The Carter family arranged search party when Rasheem first went missing, and the dollar store manager showed them footage of Carter being in the store. When they catch up with a local officer there, Officer White, and asked him about the footage, he immediately got a defensive. White stated it wasn't fair that others was implying that the police station were covering things up. But although it's not fair to say the police officer was covering things up, they have not been transparent or open with the Carter family about what had happened to their son. From the timeline that's been released to the public about Rasheem going to the police station in concern of his safety, it didn't seem like they were much help or wanted to be much help to this young man in making him feel safe, although he had strong concern about his safety and that somebody was hunting him down and was after him. Never once did the police department in Taylorsville, Mississippi, offered Rasheem to stay outside of his hotel door so that they'll make sure that no one was going after him or attack him. Instead, it seemed as if they sent him out there to be eaten up by wolves. Mississippi especially have a long history of the KKK and them expressing their hate towards minority. So this was not a far-fetched thing for Rasheem to be concerned about. So the police officers should have given more concern and should have protected him. A former police chief of the Taylorsville, Mississippi Police Department posted a picture of himself on Facebook with a Confederate flag. So Rasheem was stepping into danger and his back was against the wall and he did not even know it. Rasheem did everything that one is supposed to do when their life is in danger. Yet the last footage of him that was captured seen him with no shirt in the woods fighting off persons or more than one person trying to save his life. If anything happened to me, Mama, my boss has something to do with it. That was one of the last word in conversation that Rasheem had with his mother. So it really doesn't add up, and Rasheed's mother have great reason to believe that there's something fishy going on with the Taylorsville, Mississippi Police Department, because it has been documented that he was being targeted and he feared for his safety. After a march in February to the Mississippi Taylorsville Police Department on behalf of Rasheed Carter's death, Horn, the chief of police for Taylorsville, posted a picture on Facebook of a man hosing off some sidewalk chalk that said, "Rasheem Life Matter. Little cleanup," Horn wrote, along with a waving emoji. There have been many rumors of other bones being found and someone possibly being arrested for the death of Rasheem. Whether or not those rumors are true, they tell us something about Smith County, Mississippi, that memories of historic racist violence still loom large there, as does the modern day threat of it, and that law enforcement reluctant to share information with Carter family or the public has fueled confusion, cynicism, and fear among the black community. As Tiffany Carter and her loved ones wait for answers, they try to remember the good times they share with Rasheem. As family parties, he would sometimes bring a seafood platter from his restaurant. He was generous, and they recall him donating school uniform to kids who couldn't afford their own at the start of the academic year. He loved music and dancing, and his daughter Callie, his only child, she's a spitting image of her daddy, say his aunt Kale. The girl, now 7, recently told her grandmother that she was grateful to at least get 6 good years with her father, whose debt she is still struggling to process. She said, "You know, Grandma, I really hate what happened to my daddy," Tiffany Carter recalls. To hear her say that at the age that she is, all I could tell her is, I hate it too. My thoughts and condolences go out to Tiffany Carter and Callie Carter. May Rasheem Carter's soul find some kind of peace while we the public continue to fight to bring his murderers to justice. Until next time on the Meaningful Talk Crime Docs, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you later in the comment section.